Chapter 3 Three-Way Battle Part 1 This was a battle we were doomed to lose from the start. If I were a defeatist, I would probably write an introduction like that without a second thought. But we were undefeated, we were reckless, and we hadn't forgotten our sense of adventure when it came time to sink or swim. Dead bodies, entrails, raw flesh, grey matter. Even with these things strewn across the entire floor, Byakuya-sama and I could do nothing but continue advancing. Just like a bullet has no interest in anything but moving straight ahead, once it's been fired. In other words, it was our fundamental principle. Part 2 Sedlec Ossuary, a bizarre building in a town called Kutnahora, famous for housing approximately 40,000 skeletons, about 10,000 of which are used to decorate the interior. The altar, the ceiling, the monstrances, the handrails, the coat of arms, the objets d'art, everything was made from human bones, so it's informally known as the Church of Bones. Borgs probably had a very eloquent answer to the simple question of why so many skeletons, but this wasn't the time for me to be brushing up on my history. Right now, in the present, we were moving at breakneck speed. Arguably, the most impressive ornament of the Church of Bones was the massive chandelier. Supposedly made entirely of bones, it was enough to make you sick of the back and forth contemplation of mortality. But right then, there was a fresher death spread out underneath it. It was an image straight out of hell. Still wet flesh clung to the wall, intestines were caught on the stair handrails, and scattered blood stained the floor red. What could have caused a scene like this? Short of 10 hungry bears breaking in. But this wasn't the work of bears, it was the work of humans. We'd escaped their attack, so we knew. How pitiful to die in a place like this. It just means that in the end their lives were as meaningless as that of an antlion, Byakuya-sama said from his perch on the windowsill that had narrowly avoided the blood damage. Sounding bored. His crisp black tuxedo stood out almost gaudily against the skull white and blood red. Oh boy, I've stomped on thousands of Goombas in my time, but this level of destruction leaves me at a loss for words, said Hiroyuki-san, who was clearly not at a loss for words, lighting a cigarette. Yuka-san was going on a stroll through the church. She didn't seem to be paying much attention to the blood spreading out under her feet. Maybe because she was wearing blood-red shoes? Pretty annoying that this was basically the squad now. Byakuya-sama and I eloping, just the two of us. I probably couldn't expect a romantic development like that to happen anytime soon. Well then, back to business. I put a finger to my temple, powering up Borgs. Even if there were no full bodies, from things like the raw flesh, clothes, precious metals and skin color, it was possible to distinguish between individuals. Just like identifying bodies after a plane crash, pretty much. After searching for available information and then rearranging those parts like puzzle pieces, the result was 83 confirmed bodies. It was also able to specify that 31 of those bodies were the bodies of council members. 31. That was the exact number of council members other than Byakuya-sama and Princess Sonia. Isn't it about time to let us in on this? Hiroyuki-san blew smoke. What's with the pool of meat? Like, why were you all gathered here in the Church of Bones anyway? Tell them, was all that Byakuya-sama said. Apparently, this was also part of my job description. As he is the heir to the esteemed Togami family, Byakuya-sama is also a member of the Council of Global Controllers. So hey, milady, would that happen to be a Freemasons reference or something? I'll leave that up to your imagination. Oh, wow. Didn't you say you were from an underworld conglomerate or something too? Did I stick out my luck a little too far then? Go on, continue. I myself haven't heard of when or how the Council of Global Controllers came into existence, but it seems that they existed for centuries. And when the world is in danger and the word is given, this association secretly guides people towards the choices necessary to avert danger. Oh, I see. Hiroyuki-san was dialing it down. Just curious, but all the members all big shot politicians or nobility or big conglomerates or something? Obviously. Huh. It's almost like the Bilderberg group.
Logs equals search result number 366955501. Class Conspiracy Theories. Title Bilderberg Group. A secret conference founded in 1954 by Joseph Ratzinger, among others. Prominent politicians, top financiers, CEOs of major companies, rulers of European countries, bankers, with roughly 130 in attendance, and with the details of the meeting not disclosed to the public. Conspiracy theories about the true purpose of the conference persist, including planning to establish a unified government or discussing population reduction plans to control the global population.
Oh, this was the first time a meeting was called to order since Byakuya-sama became a member. We flew into the Czech Republic for the weekend so that he could head off to the Church of Bones. And so this is where you always have those discussions, or what? Yeah, that's what I've heard. Oh, you know that Kunohora was called the Silver Treasure House of the Kingdom. It used to be a hub of monetary circulation, manufacturing silver coins that were the predecessor of the dollar. The belief is that they're the ones controlling the world from the shadows, and that's been pretty persistent. Well, that's rather incisive. Well, Ieyasu caused the downfall of the Toyotomi clan just because he found the phrases, "May the state be peaceful and prosperous," and "May noble lords and servants be rich and cheerful," on Temple Bell, Hiroyuki-san said, his expression a little more serious. At any rate, at least now we've established reasons why you've come to Prague, although I didn't expect any to involve any secret societies. Why were you here to meet us when you didn't know about the Council of Global Controllers? Underworld conglomerates, am I right? This kind of thing is just part of our morning routine. So you live in a pretty unrealistic world too, don't you? Huh. The world is realistic no matter what you say about it. Nothing too crazy, unrealistic is gonna happen. So basically, nobody's gonna be a global controller. Is that so? There are plenty of organisations of all sizes in the world, and an unpredictable level of incidents happen daily. You think a single will can control such an arbitrary world? I love conspiracy theories, but I think anyone who actually believes in that shit is an idiot. I couldn't argue with Hiroyuki-san's viewpoint. You can't take the whole world at once. With so many little schools, companies, and even the smallest organisations of all, individual households, perfect control is probably impossible. We aren't cogs in the machine. We aren't puppets. Just like how Louis XVI helped develop the guillotine and then had that blade fall on his own neck in the revolution. The world is full of irony and countless miscalculations. It's impossible to do something like guiding the globe as a whole. With that pitiful cattle being the sole exception. Hiroyuki-san turned towards Byakuya-sama, a bold smile appearing on his face. Oh, so tell me, bossy boy, why'd this Council of Global Controllers or whatever approach the Togami family? Do you have a guess as to what the pitiful cattle, or whatever, is? You third-rate conglomerate scum. Oh, you silly boy, playing all innocent like that. So how about it, what reason do they have for approaching the Togami family? Because we are Togami. There is no further reason required. I simply accepted their request, asking if I would like to help guide the world. I didn't ask what was going on in their heads. Running errands? That's not like you, you little big shot. Tedious socialization goes hand in hand with success in life. Well, they might have come at you from the Council of Global Controllers angle, where they were actually going after the secret to the Togami family's prosperity angle. Like you are? By the way, what peril was the world supposed to be in this time? Falling meteorites, alien invasion, global warming? Isn't it obvious? The Despair novel and Despair disease. Part 3.
Logs equals search result number 9277818. Class books. Title despair novel, restricted verification in progress. The common name for a text that became the pathogenesis for a phenomenon inspiring despair in humanity, i.e. despair disease. Although an official title has been confirmed, there is a possibility that it might cause the despair disease, so it will not be introduced at this access level. It is presumed that the original work was written in Japanese. At present, it has been translated into 25 languages, allowing it to spread further throughout the world. The Japanese edition is 3,382 characters long, including punctuation. In practical terms, it is a short story. It is in the I-novel genre. Although other points of interest have been confirmed, no quotes or summaries are available at this level. The despair novel was rapidly distributed worldwide with the information that reading it will inevitably lead to despair, and those who have read it will come down with a condition known as despair disease. At this time, there have been no reported cases of readers failing to contract the disease or returning from the decision to read it, and thus it can be concluded that once you lay eyes upon the despair novel, contracting the disease is inevitable. Although various attempts have been made to read it without contracting the disease, by reading quickly, reading over a long period of time, stopping midway, listening to it aloud, or changing words, reading from the last page, etc. There is no known method that guarantees safety. World leaders have ordered book burnings, and several international organizations have been working to resolve the issue, starting with the World Health Organization, also known as WHO. Books equals search result number 550911194. Class diseases. Title despair disease. Verification of disease title in progress. A common name of a disease contracted by readers who have finished reading the continually multiplying despair novel number 927788018. No matter which language it is printed in, those who read the despair novel will undergo a change in personality within 24 hours. Self-deprecating, masochistic, bigoted, jocular, belligerent, and violent traits are especially prominent, and in sense of many of these diseased in that mental state express that they are in despair. It has been come to known as despair disease. The diseased become true to their own instincts, conspiring with other readers to transform into insurgents with particular focus on attacking concepts that elicit hope. Large companies, elite schools, celebrities, nobility, conglomerates, etc. In addition, some anti-government activists and terrorists have covertly taken advantage of the chaos caused by these diseases, and there are countries that have fallen into a state of civil war. World leaders are fighting back by isolating the disease and burning copies of the despair novel, but readers have spread virally with translations, new printing, and online copies making extermination presently impossible. Furthermore, since anyone who reads the despair novel invariably contracts despair disease, neither a cure nor even a source can be determined. There are many theories, including terrorist weapon, currently unknown virus, super high school level talents, near mass hypnotism, and brainwashing, and so on. As no drastic solutions have been found yet, some military analysts and think tanks have taken the stance that if this phenomenon continues to expand, it may become the worst incident in the history of mankind.
Part 4. Whether it was because Czech was a more obscure language or because absurd Czech literature was already commonplace, there wasn't currently a Czech translation of the despair novel circulating. It's generally considered that the original version was written in Japanese, a language that blows Czech out of the water, obscure though it may be, but the despair novel's disease didn't seem to be spreading within its home country as much as you would think, given that. With Japan's industrious workers, all-night-long anime broadcasts, and proliferation of 24-hour convenience stores, there was basically no time to read, and the low incidence rate in Japan could be taken as proof of that. To be honest with you, I don't really have much interest in the despair novel. I actually kind of forgot about it. Between the phony making the world domination proclamation and Byakuya-sama and the world with him falling into peril, if I were a member of the Council of Global Controllers myself, I might have had a more intimate sense of conflicts and epidemics happening in faraway countries. But in the end, I only had a civilian's grasp on many events at my disposal. And that civilian was currently in a hidden room built underground the Church of Bones. I'd hoped to find survivors, but no one was there. Apparently no one had made it down. They might not have had the time to. The vault appears to be untouched, Byakuya-sama said with satisfaction, sitting on an art piece made of skulls. What the hell are you doing? Hurry up and open it. I undid the lock on the vault that was built into the wall of the hidden room and found a satellite phone, portable rations, and a whole lot of gold ingots. Ooh, hot damn, bullion! Hiroyuki-san stuck his head in. How many pelika do you think that is in total? So, third-rate conglomerate, is this amount of gold enough for you to offer up your life? Huh, didn't I mention? I'm a total ass-kicking suck-up to my betters. I offer that service as a freebie. I suppose I asked the wrong person. Oh, don't get down on yourself about it. In this crazy world of ours, I'd say it's harder for people to find someone they can have a normal conversation with rather than the opposite. Personally, I can't talk to people who look like cats more than other people, and people who laugh like lols. Well, anyway, Nate-san's waiting on me. After throwing words around left and right as he pleased, Hiroyuki-san headed back up. Finally, the two of us were alone, Byakuya-sama watching me. What is it? Would anyone risk their life for this amount of gold? Oh, so that's what we were talking about. How disappointing. I don't know, honestly. Are you saying that you don't think they would? You are cold-blooded, after all. Like Capote? You haven't had any hope or despair for years now, said Byakuya-sama. Even I myself walk through life with hope as the bait encouraging me along, and despair as the whip cracking my behind. But your life isn't even visited by hope, let alone despair. That's what they call cold-blooded. I don't really get it, but I'm not cold-blooded or anything. What is the meaning of your existence? That's easy. To complete your biography as the super high school level secretary, Byakuya-sama. That is correct. You're living to write Journey Under the Midnight Sun, and that's the only thing you're living for. There might be people out there who think I'd be sad to hear a declaration like that, but I assure you that that couldn't be further from the truth. It's quite the opposite, really. After all, my categorical imperative was, thou must prioritize the writing of the biography at all times. Though reading biographies, we were meant to learn about the people like Helen Keller and Madame Curie, Byakuya-sama said, pushing up his glasses. But I wonder how much fiction slipped into them. Biographies are non-fiction. Biographies are slaves to reality. But not in practice. Presenting things in a traditional fashion. Fabricating episodes exaggerated out of the facts. Moralizing through anecdotes. How many biographies are rendered unappetizing by such sweet, sweet sugars? Even though making real events into dramatization is just looting the scene of the fire. I won't do anything like that. Journey Under the Midnight Sun will stay pure. Do you know why it is biographers won't adhere to these basic rules? No, I don't. It is because they are human. Byakuya-sama let out a brief sigh. Can you tell me something? From your perspective as Blue Ink, what do you think of every day, when you live with neither hope nor despair? Is there perhaps a greater concept than hope or despair? Well, that's desire. I heard Byakuya-sama's voice, but Byakuya-sama standing right in front of me had his mouth shut. Desire. That aspiration is far stronger than hope or despair. That is because desire is the prototype, the starting point, the original sin of hope and despair, Desire steps in before each and every action that is taken. That voice probably wasn't only echoing in the hidden room. It was probably being transmitted throughout the Church of Bones, throughout Prague, throughout the Czech Republic, throughout the whole world. There you are, you fraud, Byakuya-sama said, with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Why don't you show me your next move? Try not to disappoint me. The fake continued loquaciously as if to say, naturally. They both seemed to be having fun. Part 5.
Book equals log lookup number 011066638. Title: World Domination Proclamation Part 2.
Desire. Desire, that aspiration is far stronger than hope or despair. That is because desire is the prototype, the starting point, the original sin of hope and despair. Desire steps in before each and every action that is taken. Tell me your desire. Don't hold back. Tell me. I understand you're bored, aren't you? You want adventure, don't you? I will fulfill that desire. Take part in my game. Go along with the World Domination Proclamation. After all, this is the grand event that will dispel your boredom. So, here and now, allow me to do a favour for you, cow-brained blockheads. I am currently in the Church of Bones. I am in the Church of Bones, without any proper weapons, and without any proper servants. Right now, it'd be easy to kill me. So, come, now, and kill me, if you can. Today is the day to get serious. Try and kill that hope you detest so much. Kill me, and you shall own me. Or perhaps, even now that the table has been set up for you, you'll persist in being indecisive maggots and refuse to take a seat. Even though I am going so easy on you, you still want to hide away in your shells and think of more excuses. Well, it's your life. You can do as you please. It's fine with me if you die a waste of space. It's fine with me if you die being the only one believing that you are not a waste of space. And it's fine with me if you become someone whose name is immortalized in history. You can do as you please. People's efforts can betray them, and there is no guarantee that hardships will pay off. And yet, without the desire to leave your mark, you won't even leave a scratch in the annals of history. That's one thing you can be sure of. Well then, Nashaladanu. Part 6. It was a trap! I shouted. What do we do? It was a huge mistake coming waltzing right back into the Church of Bones. This was the only card in our hand we could play. How can you be so calm? You fell for it. Think of it as a handicap. A 4-piece handicap or so would be just right. And there's no need to be too depressed by this turn of events. Our coming to the Church of Bones was a masterful move, in a sense. Byakuya-sama raised the antenna of a satellite phone he had taken out of the vault and began dialing a number without hesitation. Who exactly are you calling? I'm making an order. An order? What for? Pizza? It's obviously an order for murder. From the former super high school level hitman, Suzuko Otsuki. When I heard that name, from my left eye, just like ink spilling out of a bottle. Tears. There were tears. It's me. Can you hear me? Byakuya-sama paid no attention to my crisis, putting the receiver of the satellite phone against his ear. Ah! Always keep Buckingham in your thoughts. Sorry to keep you hanging. Why, I say, isn't that the Suzuhiko Otsuki? The true culprit in newspaper extra is me, is what I want to shout. Among all this human garbage frame. I overheard a deranged voice coming out of the receiver. The voice of someone who mocked the world, feeding on malicious intent and verbal abuse. The voice of someone who thought everyone else was an idiot without exception. The voice of that man. Ah, it's been a while, Byakuya-kun. How have you been? How's the world domination coming along? I don't have time for chit-chat. This may be abrupt, but I'm taking a hit out. What's so funny? Don't you even need to ask? Ain't it obvious? Anyone would laugh hearing those words coming out of your cutie little mouth. Byakuya-kun, when you're the #1 person hit list would be worldwide. This murderous intent towards me is my own business. It's not yours to laugh at. Wow, you're so cool, but I'm kinda on a date right now. A date? Oh, you gotta understand that I snuck away to take this call. I can't have my lovely honey bunches finding out what I do for a living. What are you saying? Oh, I just remembered now that you called. Now let's think about it. The other day, I was fighting this clan of assassins, right? And they all had shit like scissors and baseball bats for weapons and that other kind of crap you'd use in the first kind of a zombie movie. And so I just had to say this to him. I'm gonna beat your asses with a rice cooker. I have no more idea why that would be funny than I do. Why that has the slightest relevance to me calling you. Huh? Oh, seriously? Well, let's just move on. I already took out an order to kill Byakuya Togami. We have nothing more to talk about. Wait, hold the phone, Byakuya-kun, literally, damn, you're as cold a man as ever. I haven't even really had the chance to establish my character yet. That's not my problem, I'm hanging up. Oh, don't be shy, anything you want to talk about is A-okay. Want to talk about Richard III? A-okay. An assassin is going to speak at that name. Oh, you're just the one who tried to get order to hit Byakuya-kun, so I think you're a little closer to this than I am. Just like a great man of prestige lay their hand upon a Bible before they can go off with guns blazing, you should probably lay your hand on a copy of Richard III before you order any hits.
Forks equals search result. Number 11118905. Class, history, stories. Title, Richard III. The last king of England of the House of York, and the last king of England to be killed in battle. In Shakespeare's historical drama, Richard III, he was written as a criminal deeply twisted in both mind and body, armed with crooked ambitions and bizarrely enthralling conversational skills. However, in Josephine K's The Daughter of Time, Richard III's bad reputation was fabricated by later generations. He left behind countless mysteries during his lifetime, and visual depictions of him especially cannot be verified even today.
Listen, Utsuki, don't forget the gap between us is as great as the gap between heaven and earth. Byakuya-sama gripped the receiver. I am the one who authorizes the hitman. And then the hitman is the one who tears himself apart wrestling with his own tired conscience. Oh, that's a dangerous way of thinking. I cut ties with any conscious nonsense a long time ago. You know, humans have all lost their consciences, dancing all night, until the day breaks. Conscience makes people cowards after all. I already know that you have no shred of conscience left. Thanks for the compliment. I'll make it up to you by coming over to kill you ASAP. You should try shove me in a wine barrel. Oh, well, aren't you a cutie acting all tough? Well then, Byakuya-kun, at least try to stay alive until I get you. Second this call is over, you better run. Not turn your back on anyone. If you know what's good for you. And so it goes. Byakuya-sama hung up the satellite phone before he could even listen to that unnerving, explosive laughter. So, what were you saying about how masterful this all was? The world's gotten cheeky too. Not going according to my plans. Hey, Byakuya-sama, are you listening to me? Our situation has become very dire, if the former super high school level hitman has turned on us. Now, to be completely honest with you, I'm actually a little rattled. You could really tell how extreme that man's, Otsuki's talent was just by Byakuya-sama, someone who thought of others as nothing more than mere sewage worms or plankton, saying that much. Probably the only current student at the school who had a fair chance of going toe-to-toe with him was Mikuru Ikusabe-san. Why don't we get Enoshima-san and Fukawa-san to do something? I asked, despite knowing all that. This is too heavy a burden for a Gyaru and a writer to bear. You of all people should know well that he doesn't reside on that level. All we can do is resolve the matter of the fake before Otsuki makes it to the Czech Republic. Don't be stupid, that's unreasonable. I tell you what would be unreasonable, trying to take on both of them at once. And let's have you refrain from calling me stupid again under any circumstances. I have a suggestion. Tell me. Let's use that. by which I meant the most valuable of tricks, the single blow that could change the world, the word that could throw the whole world off balance. However, I will walk my path under my own power and that alone. Thump, thud, 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 thud. Suddenly, the sound of countless footsteps reverberated. A sense of tension surrounded the Church of Bones. You're bored, aren't you? You want an adventure, don't you? I will feel that desire. I might have touched Borks wrong because that voice replayed on its own. Well, it was true thanks to that fake. I was smack dab in the middle of an adventure right now. The time was 10 PM. 4 hours had already passed since the World Domination Proclamation. There was a large group of people underneath the dimly lit sky. Countless faces looked back at us, many red with anger, and yet just slightly more full of unease. They had completely surrounded the Church of Bones. Final show at the tour of the Yokohama Arena. Don't you think that feels kinda like that? The Church of Bones had 3 steeples stretching above it, and Hiroyuki-san and Yoka-san had climbed on top of them. What in the world? Well, hello, milady. You got some guests here aiming for the life of your young dear master. The shape of the crowd looking up at us suddenly reminded me of the parade. The futility, the insolence, the violence, the cowardice. The looks they were all giving us. All of it was just like that reserves course parade at Hope's Peak Academy. I have a headache. I want some aspirin. As my head abruptly began to hurt, I felt a light, gentle touch on it from Yuka-san's hand. Pat, pat. Her sleepy voice and expression had a calming effect. Then she handed me a konpaito. Why give me a konpaito at a time like this? It's sweet. I know that. Did you really? But it's so spiky. Oh, sorry, I guess. Thank you for all your hard work. Huh? Babysitting. I didn't have time to figure out what she meant by that, because I could see the tip of a flame looking at the Church of Bones. Awesome! Watching the fire, the head set burning brightly. That might have agitated the crowd into a frenzied state, since they started crying out in a fanatic delight. Oh, fire! It's on fire! Hiroyuki-san looked down from the steeple. You know, online they call me the King of Flame Wars, but I think I got a cry uncle when it's frames IRL. Hey, this isn't the time to be joking around. I wonder if this is how Nobunaga felt in his last moments. If you don't have an escape plan, then just shut up. Yeah, someone's angry. Okay, then as you wish, I'll zip my lips. Ate breve, obrigado. See you next week. As this meaningless conversation was going on, the flames were becoming larger and more powerful, burning the walls of the church. We couldn't count on such an old church to be built to withstand such fires. So at this rate, we and about 40,000 skulls were about to be turned to ash. I heard a faint low noise mixed with the crowd's voices. An engine. Something was coming down the road. Gigantic, roaring tires smashed down the gate to the Church of Bones and burst onto the grounds. Citizens, please take heed and remove yourself from the vicinity of the Church of Bones. We are with Hope's Peak Academy. Hey everyone, thank you for listening to this new episode of Danganronpa Togami, the audiobook. For now, let's get into the translator's notes. So the predecessor of the dollar, which Hiroyuki mentions, is the thaler, which did originate in a town that in the present day is part of Czech Republic. Kutnahora was the home to the Royal Mint. Ieyasu and Toyotomi is a reference to an inciting incident in the siege of Osaka. The article briefly explains why the wordplay with the kanji on the bell messages on Wikipedia, so the characters in the name Ieyasu and Toyotomi were present in the inscriptions. Apelika is a reference to currency used in kaiji. A capote, Truman Capote, wrote the book in cold blood, which in the Japanese title is just the cold blood part, which is the same word that Togami uses to describe blue ink, which is relevant to the discussion that follows shortly afterwards. That book is a true crime novel, but some of the details in it are fictional. A 4-piece handicap. This is a reference to shogi, reductively known as Japanese chess. So handicap games are frequent between players of different skill levels, with a 4-piece handicap, removing rook, bishop, and both lances, traditionally reserved for someone who is 8 or 9 ranks above their opponent. So, of course, this is Byakuya being big-headed again with that difference, relegating his opponent to an amateur level by default, from our understanding. Everything Suzuhiko says. No idea what the Buckingham line is about. There's a British drama called To Sir with Love, whose Japanese title is something like Always Keep the Sun in Your Thoughts, but thought maybe though this was a bit random of a reference. The Sorry to Keep Ya Hangin' line is an attempt to translate the idiosyncratic catchphrase of the Japanese actor Kinya Aikawa. It is a slangy distortion of a normal phrase, sorry to make you wait. And the why I say part is an attempt to translate an antiquated regionalism from around the Matsuyama, which is something like, isn't that? It was used in a famous novel called Bochan, but since it's not much used in Persian nowadays, it's more mimetic. And of course the novel's title being diminutive for young master, so perhaps there's some reference to Byakuya and possibly another character that knows Byakuya. You Ultra Despair Girls players should probably know who I mean though. The part in quotes was a straight quote from the poem Ryuki Uta, or Ode of the Bazaar, by Kusaku Yumeno. And the humans have all lost their consciences, dancing's bit. That's also another quote from the same poem. The Yokohama Arena, which is an arena with a seating capacity of 17,000, and this location is commonly used for big events like the last show of a performer's tour. And Konpaitu is a Japanese sugary candy with a distinctive bumpy look. Also another, I guess, Despair Girls reference in a way, when Komaru says, something like, oh no, the earth isn't flat, it looks like one of these sugar candies. I can't remember exactly how it went. It's like one of the very first lines in Ultra Despair Girls. And Ate breve obrigado, I probably butchered that, but it's Portuguese for see you soon, thanks. And at the end of each episode of Nobunaga, King of the Zipangu, the character of Louis Fro, a Portuguese missionary, would say this, hence Hiroyuki is adding the see you next week.